Yo, Elliot. Got this question from our 29-year-old buddy Aaron. He's been an athlete for several years. I think he started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's his sport. Back when he was probably about 20 years old. It's just, it's been a part of his life, but he's fucked himself up a lot during those, those 10 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's broken some bones and he's torn some stuff and he trained improperly at certain times, has some chronic injuries, so his body's fucked up. Dude, you're 29. It starts happening, it starts falling downhill, especially if you've got injuries. If up until this point you haven't done anything, meaning, look, if you don't have any injuries, you're probably not training very hard or you're not a very good athlete. You've got to have fucked yourself up at some point, especially if you're damn near 30. But what starts happening is all those old injuries start showing up, and what happens is not just the injury, and this is what you're experiencing, it's not just the injury. Say, you fucked up your ankle. It'd be nice to say, well, for the rest of my life, I've got this little weird thing going on with my ankle. The body ain't that easy. You've got this strange thing called the kinetic chain, where one thing gets fucked up, and everything else gets fucked up. You fuck up your ankle, guess what? Promise you're gonna have knee problems, hip problems that lead to back problems, shoulder problems, clicking in your jaw, and fucking headaches, right? I got chronic headaches. Yeah, because you broke your ankle 7 years ago. Nobody would ever think of it that. They think that, we're sort of isolated. There are pieces and things, experiences, and circumstances that are just kind of isolated in our lives, and that our bodies are the same way. You're just, you go to a doctor, to an eye doctor, and he just fucking looks at your eyes. You go to the headache doctor, he's gonna look at your fucking head. Not realizing that, yeah, you're completely imbalanced, your neuromuscular system is tugging on your skull in a really strange way because you're imbalanced based on an injury on your ankle when you were 20 years old. So he wants to know what to do. I'm 29 years old. I still got a lot of fucking fire in my belly. I get it, dude. I'm 34. I got a lot of fucking fire in my belly. But what do? I can't train because every time I train, it hurts. Things get worse, or I feel like I'm further facilitating these imbalances, which is going to lead to more and more dysfunction further and further down the line. Yes, and yes. I've torn things in my knee, I've torn things in my foot, I've torn my elbow, my bicep, I've fucked myself up so many different times, right? You get to a point where after so many injuries and exerting yourself for so many years, that your training doesn't have to be any less intense, but you've got to be far more intelligent with your approach. And that means you can't be all yang, you can't be all dick, you can't be as hard as you were when you were 17. And I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna say it with the biggest balls I could produce, that when you're 35, you are in many ways starting to become a pussy compared to a 25-year-old. And it's not a bad thing. It means you've got to be more wise. You've got to be a little bit more clever, more cunning. You can't just be, because when you're 25, what the fuck? Beat. Yo, I'd fucking break something, I'd wrap it up and keep fucking going. Can't do that after a certain time because, like, wait a second, that's the fourth time this happened. And it's gonna show up again later when you get older, right? So here's the approach that you're gonna have to take. You're going to have to give a significant portion of time, energy, and effort to yin or water type training. That means enroll in a yoga class. That means this is what I do, spend half an hour minimum per day stretching all of your muscles, particularly around the hips and the shoulders, because that's where most of the imbalances congregate, right? They sort of concentrate right around the hips, low back, and shoulder neck region. I spend half an hour, sometimes an hour stretching before I train. Now, not everybody has that luxury. Of course, I live in my gym. But before you go to bed at night, I do that also. So I'll spend half an hour before I train and before I go to bed at night. Half an hour stretching my hips, stretching my shoulders. My bioenergetic stool gets more use than anything else in my gym. I'm always laying over the stool. If you don't know what I'm talking about, search my channel. I'll even make a video about the bioenergetic stool. I'm foam rolling my low back, my glutes, my hips. I need to make more videos about this stuff because not everyone that watches these videos are 20 years old. Some of you guys are like me, 29, 30, 35 years old. In order to continue to do the aggressive fire, yang type training, you're going to have to balance it out. It's just being a more balanced approach to your training. You can continue to get stronger. You can continue to build muscle. You continue to kick people's asses in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But it won't work if you don't use more water yin soft training. It's inevitable. And you guys that are younger, that are 20, 25 years old, hey, look, beat the shit out of yourselves. And then come back and watch this video in about 5 years. It's just the way it is, folks. Yo, Elliot,